They called this flood in 2016, they called it the Great Flood of 2016. Anybody that lived it is not going to tell you anything was great about it. So life was good in Santa Maria until about August 11th, 2016. It started raining. Everybody in Santa Maria and South Louisiana just feels like this is just going to be a normal rain. Keep in mind that in 2016, when this rain started on August 11th, it wasn't no named storm. It was just a regular rainstorm. So August 11th, it starts raining, and man, August 12th, August 13th, it just keeps raining. It don't stop raining at all. The water was coming down Gold Place Road like somebody had just opened up the Mississippi River. An amount of water I've never seen before, but man, it was just so much water. I mean, it was over 30 inches of water just in a short period of time. But just the amount of devastation, the amount of homes that were destroyed, the amount of businesses, you can imagine the anxiety, people just, the stress and the anxiety that people go through every time it starts raining. Because they reliving the flood again, they reliving the flood again.
I think we're really used to saying we know what to do during a hurricane, or we know it needs to be done to our home during a hurricane. But a flood event of this magnitude, there was no playbook. So you knew rain was coming, you knew a lot of rain was coming, but it rained for 3 days straight, and it never stopped. Just wouldn't stop. That's what a lot of our residents would say. This rain just won't stop. It felt like many residents who would call our emergency operations center just said it won't stop. The rain fell for days. We had almost three constant days of rain, and then you had that break, short-lived, and then the flooding event started, and then for some residents, the backwater event started.
It was a catastrophic amount of water. It was the most water we ever had to deal with in Ascension Parish. It was more of the rain event in the northern end of the Amant River Basin, where 20, 30 plus inches of rain fell, and all that water came downstream through the Amant River and into the Ascension systems. And that's where our bulk of our flooding happened, was from backwater flooding in the Amant River Basin. When that water started coming into Ascension was days after the rain event, but it started getting to our levee system, our protection systems. And then what you saw happen, or what took place, was the Amant River Basin spilling over into, say, the Marvin Bro Basin. And from that point, once it overtopped the Laurel Ridge Levee system through Gold Place area and on into Santa Maria, And then also in the northern end of the parish by Lake Martin areas, all those areas first started seeing the effects of the backwater. What we noticed was roads or levees, water started teacupping from one state highway onto the next, and those residents would see the impacts, and then it would cross the state highway and fill up that section. And then once it reached and overtops that levee, it starts overtaking the capabilities of the pumping system. That's when you really started seeing the rise inside of the Marvin Bro Basin, and residents really starting to take on water.
This was a rain event or a flood event, but it was really a no-name storm. So that characterized the event as a whole, but then you don't have that it's a hurricane or a tropical storm guidelines to follow. So for a lot of our residents, this flood event, there was no playbook. So the event happened and it was, I have to figure it out. I have to recover. I have to get my children back in school. I need to rebuild my home. And we saw that family after family after family here in Ascension.
It started raining, and it rained for quite a few days, 2 to 3 days, and then the flood waters came. That's what was, as a backwater, you want to call it, whatever, we call it. We're sort of used to that backwater coming up because you can't get out fast enough. But I mean, the parish, they had pumped everything down. We were at capacity, right? And so we knew that, and that was the agonizing part, knowing that the flood waters were going to come up and you couldn't do anything about it. We were monitoring the weather like we normally do. It was a little bit to the north of us coming from Baton Rouge through Central. So it started ramping up from there. Then we started realizing, okay, this is a little bit more of a significant event than what we originally expected. It's more than just rain. Started getting people to move school buses. I grabbed people from my neighborhood, 20 or so, 25 people showed up at our district offices in Sorrento, and we were able to salvage about 60 buses in about 2.5 hours. We got to Sorrento and it probably had a foot of water. By the time we left, within 2.5 hours, we were able to save that many buses. We lost 30, 35 buses, but we were able to save a lot by moving them to another campus, and that was the beginning of the excitement. I mean, everybody's houses were starting to flood, so the community was really coming together, starting to evacuate. We got to get out. So the flood water started coming from the Amant in that way, had some rescue efforts going on. We started knowing it was pretty real. Then we got reports that the Amant was going to topple over the levee behind Law Ridge. Once that happened, now we start understanding, okay, now it's going to circle us and start coming into the Santa Monica community. We have to do some things for the schools. So we started scrambling, and that was within 8 to 12 hour time frame, that fast. We started learning we had 8 campuses that flooded. So what are we going to do? How are we going to get kids back in school? How are we going to do this? So we really started scrambling. And that's when all our level directors, we all got together. Level directors made some great decisions. Okay, we can platoon, we can put first, second, third grade at this campus, fourth and fifth at this campus. We really started coming together just to figure out where can we put all these kids, bus routes. And we had to get lease buses in and do things like that just to try to maneuver kids around. We ended up leasing some spaces, the old River Parish Community College in Sorrento. We leased that for sort of the Santa Monica Lake Primary School. They went there. We platooned Santa Monica High School, platooned half a day at Dutchtown High School. So Dutchtown School went from 7 to 12, and then from 12 to 4 was Santa Monica High School. Practiced football at East Ascension. I mean, everybody had to come together to figure out a way to continue school and continue the efforts. And so very proud of the community and the other schools that weren't flooded, welcoming in open arms the students of Santa Monica and trying to make it as best as we can. When we first started this, there's a price tag with it, right? And that starts molding together with, after we get the community settled and everything coming in, how are we gonna pay for this? What are we gonna do? So we had FEMA set up, but also school being fiscally responsible that we are, the school system, our fund balance was in great shape. That fund balance allowed us to start the remediation process. Having the emergency side going, we were able to float that and then start our reimbursements from FEMA. And it's 10 years now. This is the 10-year anniversary, and we are almost whole from that venture. We still got a little bit of money coming back from the state and the federal government to make us whole, but we're going to be as whole as we can. But there's no way we could have got back into our facilities or moved our kids around like we did without having that fund balance. With our base that we have here and the community support that we have for our school system, that base always stays relatively good for us to be able to help make decisions, right? So we're very proud of that. So we're almost whole now.
But this is a picture of the fire station. The water was actually up to the windows of the bay. This is a couple of days later where we can get to it. But this picture was taken by a boat on Stringer Bridge Road. And like I said, the water was above these windows of the bay area.
And days of rain, our staff grew and grew and grew, and the operations started to grow. So we started here and slowly developed a full staff for our general population shelter for a lot of the residents that were flooded, having to evacuate their home and having nowhere to go. So we had people that were showing up at our shelter with nothing, wet, and a pet. Some of them even had pets. So that was probably the first couple days of the rain event. I think we learned very quickly, 2 inches, 2 feet, we had residents that had water to their roof line. It still is the same amount of cleanup. You still have to muck and gut, you still have to get it out. Then you have to get into the construction phase, tearing out the sheetrock, take all your furniture out. So that takes time because most residents had to wait for all the water to recede. So that was a waiting game for a lot of residents to get back into their home. So once they were able to get back in their home, we were looking for volunteers and church organizations and people just to come in and just help large amounts of area to just get the sheetrock and the furniture and all the appliances out of the house. So then that triggered debris operations. And that, to this day in my career, has probably been the biggest and largest debris operation. A lot of things come with weather. A lot of rules and a lot of laws, and to get FEMA here and to get the assistance. But the debris operations is long. I mean, I think we had almost a year. It took almost a year to get from start to finish. We were lucky. Some areas we were able to start about 2 weeks after the flood had started. So we were able to take a look at those areas and try to at least get that recovery operation going. But overall, debris lasted about a year.
And there were large piles in front of
And there were large piles of every house that was damaged had everything. Just think about taking your whole house and having to take it out and put it to the right way. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Throughout all of that, a ton of knowledge and I guess data was available to now come up with a plan of a catastrophic event hitting that you never think would happen. how and what would we do in the meantime if something like that happens again in Ascension Parish? And today we've got a lot of projects that have been constructed since then. The Law Ridge Levee Extension Project, so that extended from the Gold Place intersection of the existing levee north to Wall Cemetery Road. That project is now complete and in service and there to protect if we get hit with an event such as this again for Ascension. Fish Bayou flood control structure, where we've had to cut the road in the Bluff Swamp area in the stressful times there, that is now in place. It's been in place since 2021, I believe. Very good project there. It's been functioning very well for the drainage systems there. Bayou Conway Pump Station Expansion Project, we are in the process of bidding that now, which will double the capacity at that Sorrento pump station. And right after the 2016 flood, we was able to bring online pumps 6 and 7 fully at the Marvin Bro pumping station. So those are all now in service as well. And the New River dredging project from the Gonzales Weir to the Smith Bayou gate valves is now in place. We installed gate valves at Smith Bayou. We have the New River tilting weir. In conjunction with that dredging project, that allows us to create extra capacity during pump drawdown operations in the upper branches of the New River system throughout Gonzales, Geismar, and the upper branches of Prairieville.
Good morning and welcome. What a great day for Ascension Parish. Today is more than opening a building. It's about a promise kept. Nearly 10 years ago, the 2016 flood changed everything in Santa Maria. We lost critical infrastructure and one of the most used community spaces in the parish. But what we never lost was our resolve to come back stronger. From that moment, we made a commitment to rebuild, not just what we had, but something better. This year marks the 10th anniversary of that flood, and today we deliver on that promise. This facility stands as a symbol of resilience, recovery, and forward progress. And I tell you, it was worth the wait. It is the first of its kind in Ascension Parish and one of the first in the state. A true partnership between Ascension Parish government and the library system. Together, we have created a space that serves every part of our community. This is a place for families to gather, for children to learn, and for ideas to grow. A place for culture, recreation, education, and connection. The library brings innovation to life with technology, workforce tools, creative resources. The community center provides space for events, programs, and everyday engagement. I have a feeling this is going to be one of the busiest buildings in the parish, and that's a good thing. And just as importantly, this facility is built to serve during emergencies. It will serve as a distribution point and response site when our community needs it the most. Even the site itself reflects responsible growth, reducing runoff and improving drainage. This is what it looks like when we plan for the future. It means investing in our people, delivering real results. It means building a stronger, safer, more connected community. And when it means honoring where we've been and where we're going. Today, the people of Santa Maria, this is your space. Built from resilience, built through partnership, and built for the future. And today, we are proud to open these doors. Thank you.
Nothing prepares you for this kind of stuff, but we had some practice. So I do feel we responded very quickly, very fast, and with good fund balance, we were able to make this thing whole as fast as possible. Probably not as fast as what a lot of the community would have wanted, but it was 8 schools all affected at one time while the community is trying to get back into their house with insurance issues and money. We all sort of went through the same thing, and I think that was a big community moment that everybody understood what exactly was happening and where we are today. You know?
You know, it was a very humbling experience. A lot of families impacted by that, and when you live it and love it and care, it hits home. And you hope you never see anything like that again in Ascension Parish. But it's our job to be prepared if we do, and get ourselves ready for the next one coming.
A lot of our residents in Ascension, it was family homes. It was a home they lived in, their grandparents lived in, and a lot of memories. A lot of memories. So a lot of our homes and facilities that had to be demoed was a very emotional time for our residents.
The work is continuing every day, but we got to try to stay ahead of the curve because the rain can hit us at any time.
When you look at the 2016 flooding disaster, we just had so many residents who were displaced, total, turning your life upside down, just a total devastation across the community. And so, it's about coming together as a community and rebuilding and helping your neighbor. And so, I think that resilience of Ascension Parish residents, I think there's something great to be shown there about how we've recovered, how we've learned a lot of important lessons from that flood. And it's just a tremendous achievement of what Ascension Parish and how we've bounced back and become better and more resilient since the 2016 flood.
Our hearts are completely shattered, but our faith remains strong.